Hey everybody, Wallywood back again. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on heads and faces. So this one is going to be relatively quick. I will not be going through every angle. I will just kind of go through the basics about what method I use to do faces. I'll be honest, I am not 100% confident in the way that I do faces. I am just about 80% confident in this department. It's still something I'm still learning myself, picking up little tricks and tips. Honestly, I'm just going to try my best to give you guys any bit of information that I can and maybe help you along, or little ways that I like to blend and do things with shading and shadowing. Um, these faces are very difficult to get angles off of. These angles are very hard to try to replicate sometimes in game, and let alone the programs that I use. So let's start out by showing you my face template right here. And as you can see here, I've got a hat that I can cut on and off. That's just something in case if I was doing something outside of the hat, the face area. It just kind of gives you an idea. And of course, we have our grid, our background color, then we have our layers. I'm going to go over what I like to try to do, and also the secondary website that I like to try to use. I will try to put this up in the description. The face program that I like to use to try to get my angles to make sure that everything looks right, like leaning to certain angles. And today we're going to be kind of doing the face of Elegante. He was a WCW superstar in, I want to say, the early '90s. He was a big, tall dude. He's just terrified the crap out of me. So I'm gonna pick that guy. Um, and I'm gonna, yeah, let's see here. We're gonna try to start from scratch here. So basically, there's a website here, and you can see it up here. And again, I'm gonna try to link the URL just to make sure that everything is easy to find in the description and everything. When you come in, you're gonna want to find a good face of someone. You're not going to want to find a face with a lot of shadows. As a matter of fact, just to kind of show you the face that we started off with, this is it. I found this face texture online. It's elegante, and it's got a lot of overhang here, which is good. You're going to want some of that, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Also, first and foremost, this will need to be in JPEG format. So whenever you go to pick out the face, make sure it's in JPEG format, or it will come up and say error. It'll come up and actually tell you like, hey, it's not in the right format. So let's go ahead and get started. Click on that. Click open file. Then you got to click the I'm not a robot because, well, you're not, but upload the image. Give it a second, and it'll say it's queuing processing, and then you should basically within a few seconds get this screen right here. But I'm going to wait around for it to show up. It's going to take a minute. It takes a bit of converting. But you'll start to see the angles and everything kind of show up immediately. And there you go. Once you see that head protrude out of there, you're good to go. You got some background there kind of laid out. So we're going to just unclick this. And now we got the face itself. Now, from this right here, people, they get a little bit confused. What do you need to do? You can't. I mean, you can download this as an OBJ file if you have something that can basically, that you can use from your desktop to make, moving the angles a little bit easier. I just tend to use the website. It's just a little bit easier for me. And what I'll do is I'll just get it to the angle that I need, and I'll hit print screen, and then I'll come over here and I'll paste it in game. Oh, that's my whole desktop. So let's go ahead and trim that down a little bit, and then let's just clean it up, just like that. Now, I've actually already done a few of these. I went ahead and got some of the angles that I know will be used. I took a few screenshots of those, and honestly, the more you do this, the more you'll be able to recognize where you need to take a screenshot at. So to prevent you from having to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There may be a few that you may need to go back and forth on, but for the most part, we've got it right here. We're like, okay, we know that forward forward facing down, forward facing further down, looking up, looking left down. You know, these are all angles that you will want to go ahead and take screenshots of. And then I'll show you how to get some of the more difficult ones, like the laying sideways angles or the back angles, the top down angles, and things like that. The only thing I do not like about this website is that it makes all the noses just really protrude out of the face. And there's not much you can do about it. It's just going to kind of give you that same nose over and over again. So you just kind of have to go with it, man, and just say, all right, well, this is the nose for me. There are other websites out there that are good three-dimensional, websites to where you can just basically find a face and move things around. Maybe I can try to like link one or two. 3D Photo Effect is a good one. That one's one I found. It takes a little bit more work than this one right here. You have to do a lot of the adjustments yourself. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's get over here to our template first, because this is kind of the most important part. Again, this is my strategy. This is what I like to do. So if it doesn't follow other tutorials of things that other people have done, there's a lot of great face and head creators out there. And honestly, I've read up on some of the tutorials, and they are a little bit too complex for me. I do photorealism, and I commend all these other guys out there that actually make it look closer to in game. I kind of wish I could do that, and maybe in the future I will. Once I start getting the hang of everything. Again, this is still something that I'm learning myself. So just to go ahead and get started, this is my template. On my template here, I have got a few faces selected already. I've got one of every color, so that way I can try to match as close as I can to the right color combination of my face. And here's what I mean by that. So if you're trying to do a Hispanic person or a black guy or a white guy, there's going to be a shade difference. And that's just the way it is. There is going to be a bit of a pigmentation color differential. So what you want to try to do is try to find something close to that color of that person. So like, for example, we're going to be doing Elegante. And as you can see, his pigment is a little bit more of a yellow than it is a red or a white. So let's just go here and try to take it. Okay, that's more of a yellow face. So we're going to go with that. Yeah, let's go with that yellow face. That's a little bit closer to like a tan or a yellow. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to copy this photo over. And we're going to go ahead and try to place it in the right location. And we're going to want to move that up to the very, very top. And again, we're going to want to name our layer. Once we get that down, we're just going to want to name it. So we're going to do, I'm going to just put ELG for Elegante. And just so you guys know, this guy was also the Giant Gonzalez from WWF as well. He was the same dude. So this base will actually work probably for both. Also, again, your reference art is going to be very important here. You're not going to want to find anything too shiny. It will pixelate. It will not look right, especially whenever it comes down to angles. You want to try to find something that's a solid color. So what I'm doing at this point in time is I'm just trying to match up the nose and the face. So where the mouth sits, I want to try to have the mouth sit on the face. And where the nose and the eye sit, I want to try to get that as close as possible. You might want to lower it down. You might want to shrink it a little bit. Also, another good trick to use. If you find a good creator wrestler or a good edit that already has a close face in game, go in there, export that face, and use that as your base. And the reason why is because it already looks close. So you may be able to get away with a few angles that you may not be able to replicate. And what I mean by that is like something like this right here is going to be a very difficult angle. And so is this one right here. And stuff like this is going to be very difficult to replicate using these 3D programs because sometimes you just cannot get that angle. So what I like to do is just try to find something close. And at that point in time, if they're laying on the mat, I will try my best to like get a part of the eye or the nose or the mouth just right there to where I can fade it in just enough to kind of fake it. I guess it's technically not faking it because you're still doing the work, but I just like to call it faking the angle. Um, and then once I get to this point and I've got my first layer laid, this is where the important part comes in. So I usually take my eraser tool and I take it to 35% in the width. And then I take the hardness down to 0, or some people I think it would be called tolerance, or I don't know what it's called in GIMP and Photoshop. Some people call it the tolerance, some people call it the threshold. I'm just taking it down to 0, and here's why: because I'm gonna fade this face into this back face. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around the edges here. I'm gonna go ahead and click it, and I'm just gonna kind of roll it around the edges. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same. Now, whenever it comes down to this, Control Z is going to be your best friend, and that's the undo button. And make sure that you're letting off that that button a few times, so that way you have a good idea about, like, you're not doing a whole entire face and then having to hit Control Z and doing it all from scratch. So far, this is looking okay. The blending is going really well. All I did was kind of just roll it down to the middle, so now we're starting to get a bit of the face shape. Now here's where the tricky part comes in, because we're right here by the jaw. We're going to want to delete the access here and then kind of fade it into the chin and the jawline. The jawline is very important because that is essentially where a wrestler or any person's face really changes. A lot of people don't realize, but a thickness of a jaw can change an entire look of a face. Case in point, let's look at Triple H, for example. Triple H had a very, very slender face before he was getting, really built towards the Attitude Era. At the very beginning of the Attitude, pre-DX era, he was very skinny in the face. Even whenever he was Pierre Lafayette, I believe, from WCW, his face was very thin. So it was very easy, to see the difference in the era of his face, because it changed to be thicker whenever he became the Game. Whenever he became more muscular, whenever he put on more weight. So it's very important that you really pay attention to that jawline. And as you can see here, we already have the first face done. Now, when it comes down to faces, this may be the most tedious work that you will ever do when it comes down to parts craft. It is very difficult to have the patience to not just go in here and just let me just drag this face over here and then try to see where it went. You can do that. I've seen people go like this and basically just copy the face and then just take it over here and then just kind of fade it. But to me, it never comes out right, or they'll smush it and it doesn't look right. So let's hit Control Z. Let's not even go about that. Now, this angle right here beneath it is close enough to where you may be able to get away with that. But again, still doesn't look right. So I'm not going to go about it. I am going to go to my face here that I've already screenshotted the right angle. And we're going to copy this over and we're going to go and do this again. So let's move this over again. All right, so what we're trying to do here is match up the right angle of the nose and the mouth, and we've got some overhang there. Perfect. If it's a little bit bigger, that's fine too. This is the right angle that we want, so let's move it. And left and right arrow keys will definitely help you out a little bit here. If you are like using a mouse and you have a bad tendency to drag a little bit, arrow keys will help you out. So we're going to go along the edges first. Go along the edges. We're going to let off of our mouse button because in case if I need to hit Control Z, that came out good. What I like to do is if a angle comes out really well or an erase comes out really well, I'll go ahead and let go of the control or the mouse button. And that way I know that if I need to undo something, like I'm not happy with the way that came out, so let's just go ahead and hit undo. And let me start in from the bottom again. I know you guys are probably like, well, what happened? Everything looked fine. But I didn't like how far I went up on that cheek of this guy. I seem to have kind of done the same thing again. But you know what? Let's go over here to the cheat and we'll see if I can just blend it a little bit. Up here at the forehead, that's where a lot of the problem is going to lie when it comes down to making sure that this blends properly. So you're going to kind of want to go along the top and just use the default blending. There we go. So now we have two faces done, and now we're going to have to keep this going. So I didn't actually get an angle from this angle, so let's go ahead and get a screenshot. Let's do this. So let's zoom on in. Let's go ahead and crop it down, and let's go ahead and clean it out, and let's move it on over. This will be one of the few times that I usually do not merge immediately. When it comes down to this, I like to try my best to just kind of keep them all separate for the first until I get that row done. I don't know why I do that. I don't know if there's any strategic behind it. I can't think of anything to tell you why I do it. I guess it's just kind of just the way I handle it. Yeah, there you go. Now, I can show you something else here. Okay, so whenever we get down to about here, right, we're going to start noticing that a lot of the face angles repeat. A lot of the face angles will repeat around this area because all it is the same face angle, but with an open mouth. For the sake of the video, let me go ahead and do this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and copy the first face that we did. Whenever you see this moving, you know what, I will go ahead and merge these so I don't make that mistake again. I forgot to highlight the right one. So let's see here. We're going to move it. See how it's kind of ghosted here? And it's kind of a layer. And see how I can just kind of drag and drop it almost anywhere I want. And it almost looks like it auto fades. That's why we take the tolerance down. Whenever the tolerance is down like that, it blends so much easier. Like whenever I come down here and drag and drop it, you're going to almost see it like just fall into place. The only real bad thing about this angle is he's got his mouth open. So what do I need to do? I need to hide that layer for a minute. I'm going to come down here to the highlight here, and I'm going to actually highlight the mouth. This is another trick that I like to do to get that mouth animation. I'll copy that, and then I'll paste it, and I'll put it above that right there. And then there we go. We have a mouth that's open, that's overlapping our face that we already have. Now, that looks ridiculous. It doesn't look right, but that doesn't mean we can't use it. So we can come in here and we can try a few things. We can try to lower it down a little bit. We can try to squint it down a little bit. Just get it over the mouth a little bit. And we can come in here and try to blend it a hair. Whenever you come down to blending these right here, you may want to go down a little bit further on the size because we're working with a smaller area here. So we're going to go ahead and blend it right there. Okay, so that didn't work out exactly like I had planned, but I'm going to highlight it again, and I'm going to try to correct it. And if it doesn't work, we're going to try again. There you go, a little bit bigger of a mouth. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the way that came out. You might be, you might not be. Doesn't matter. It's your mouth. You can do whatever you want. Now, on one of my layers, I already have some mouths preloaded here. And as you can see, they don't match 100%, but we're going to go in here and we're going to do this. Let's see here. Let's copy the mouth layer, copy that down here, and see if we can't get that above the area that we need to do. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a lot of hue changing. So with this right here, we're going to want to get that down a little bit further. This is a big guy. He's got a big old grin. I probably didn't pick the best source material. A big grin like that is not easy to work with because it does affect the facial bones and how things should lie. And you may be able to get away with something like that right there. That looks okay. I'm not happy with it. I probably wouldn't finalize that. But, you know, honestly, when it comes down to the mouth, it is a lot more difficult to do. So for the sake of time and what we can do now, we'll look at these other angles. These other angles will be very easy to replicate, such as this one right here. We already are at an angle here on the side. We're going to go ahead and hit paste. And I'm going to show you guys a really cool trick. We're going to go ahead and lower it here. Get it to the right size. And you're essentially just going to follow this exact same way of going about it. We're going to bring this back up to about 35 with 0 hardness. So then we go, there we go. Let's delete that. See how we're kind of going around the edges a little bit. Now you can also leave a little bit of that extra jaw right there, right here. If you want his face to be a little fatter, like if you feel like that looks a little bit better, or if you want to leave a little bit of his chin, just kind of go in there and kind of trim up that side. And then you can even kind of come in here and just kind of pop click. It's what I like to call pop clicking. It's just kind of going around the edges, just kind of trying to clean it up a little bit. And there we go. I mean, that's a pretty good blend right there. And then whenever you want to copy that down here, this will take out a lot of the work. Take it down here and actually just turn it. That might be too difficult of an angle. Yeah, I think it's a little bit too difficult of an angle. So we may just have to actually screenshot that other angle. There are some times you can get away with it, especially profile shots. Let's go ahead and grab a profile shot. We are just over 20 minutes on this tutorial, so I am going to try to wrap it up. But, all right, Elegante, for example, let's do this. We're going to put his profile shot here. Try to match up the eyes, and the nose. Also, I have been known, because I can't stand how big they make the nose, I have been known just to delete the nose and use the stock nose there. And then just fade in the rest. Like right around here. And then if you want to copy that and use it. Now, again, I'm just fast forwarding here. But you can literally just kind of take it, drag it, and drop it. And kind of overlay it. Now, again, you may get some ghosting here and there. It's very possible that it won't look right in game. This is going to be one of those things where the more time you put into each angle, the better the outcome. As you can see, with this face right here, all I did was drag and drop that one from the top, and it matched up pretty well. If I cut this off, it changes the look of the face because we have enough of the eyes and the mouth there and the cheekbone to change the outlook of the face with using the stock nose. So we can finalize that. Now, there is one other thing I'd like to go over here. And obviously, I'm not going to knock out all these angles or anything like that. I don't plan on doing that with this because it does take me maybe about 45 minutes to an hour to do a face. And sometimes even longer if I'm being very careful. I have to be in the right mindset to get it just right. Sometimes I will slack myself and just be like, okay, that looks good enough for me, and then I'll go back and I'll be like, I did that way too quickly, and I'll have to go in and fix a few angles and things like that. Again, something I'm still learning, but I'm hoping that these tricks and tips will actually help you guys out. Also, here's a picture of somebody that modded Elegante into one of the wrestling games. That's the guy if you're having trouble remembering who he is. When it comes down to coloring of the face, there's a way you can do this inside your adjustments here. And here's what I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to merge all of these into one. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to adjust the hue. And as you can see, you can lower the lightness, the darkness, and things like that to kind of get the color that you need. Okay? That's one way to do it. If you want to export it all as one head and one base. But I've started trying something a little different. And I've realized that with the skin complexions being so different, and the game only giving you about 4 like standard ones, once you superimpose that onto one of those 4, it's like stuck that way. And if you lighten or darken the face, it doesn't do it individually. So what I've started doing is actually making 2 versions of the head. I will export one as a base with the full head there, and then I'll export one, which is literally just this. And then I'll just export it as a layer to overlay the face. And what's really cool about doing it that way is you can actually individually color the face separately from the head. And you can match up the colors really, really well. I had some trouble whenever I made D'Lo Brown, for example. And whenever I was making, it was D'Lo Brown. And when I was making Edge. Edge was a good example. Edge's face did not blend very well. It didn't fade very well with the default colors. It was almost like it was tan and light at the same time. So whenever I was able to kind of make it into like a layer and export it as a layer, it fit perfect, and I was able to fade it individually and get a really good close combination. Just to kind of show you what that looks like, I will bring up a picture here. Let me find my Edge photo. And let's see here, Edge face. So yeah, as you can see here, doing it as a layer meant that I can actually match the body type a little easier. And as you see, I kind of messed up on this angle. Edge looks like he's Steve Buscemi here, looking in two different directions. Sometimes that is gonna happen because you just got to make sure the picture that you got is right. Sometimes it's really hard to mirror an image and make it look correct. Faces do take a little bit more experience, but I've noticed that your primary tool here to save you a lot of time is going to be taking down that threshold and making your eraser larger. Those are going to be your two deciding factors on if your face is going to come out clean or not. So other than that, it's totally up to you. Do what you do, and just this is just my method. Again, I'm sorry if it's not 100%. Like you've seen other people, I'm not doing this to override anybody else's tutorials. I'm just doing it in hopes that there will be some sort of information that I can give out that may help somebody else out there who wants to get into this. And with everybody, I've started realizing that everybody has their own methods that they feel comfortable with or safe with. That's fine. You'll learn some tricks that you may be able to share, or that you may not, use the same as say I do, but it may work better for you. So keep that in mind. These are just kind of bullet points and just try to help you out. Thank you guys for watching. My next one that I'll be coming out with will probably be waist and torso area. So just keep a lookout for that. And I'm going to go ahead and end it today, and we'll pick up again maybe tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm signing out. Bye-bye.